Hello, everybody, and welcome to another one,
And another one.
another episode of the 6-0 podcast. I'm your host, Walker. Today, we have a special guest host, and believe it or not, it is not Urban Meyer, because unlike Urban Meyer, our guest host decided that he was actually going to join our team today. So with that,
let's go.
I'm going to pass it over to our special guest host, David Stein.
Well, thank you. As the number one listener and fan of this show, I was expecting a guest appearance, but this quickly is an honor to say the least. But like Urban Meyer, I will not be flying home with the team, and I will be hitting the bars tonight. So,
okay, let's go.
That's fair.
All right, David. Tell me who's your teams so the audience knows a little bit about you, because I don't think probably everyone who's listening to this probably doesn't know you. But tell me your teams. Who's your teams?
Big Chiefs fan, as you can tell.
Ooh,
big Chiefs.
Let's go, Patty. Let's go, Patty.
No, the Chiefs suck. Patrick Mahomes, overrated. Going with the hot takes early, boys. Hitting the hot takes early.
Relax.
Better than Patrick Mahomes, but I'm a Chargers fan. I'm a Duke basketball fan, but we don't get into Duke here, so we'll keep that for another podcast. And then, yes, you could have guessed it, UGA football.
Let's go.
Go.
Bark. All right. David, I'm gonna ask you a question. So not including those teams that you just said, who's your favorite player, like your favorite player that's not on your team of all time? Well, not of all time, that you watched.
College, pro?
Any.
Am I allowed to answer this question too? Because I actually
want to.
You might give me an idea.
Really?
Go.
Well, believe it or not, my favorite player that has never played on any of my teams, Marshawn Lynch. Love that man.
Of course.
Ran like a beastquake, best player I've ever seen. Loved his attitude. Loved him holding his crotch. Loved him eating Skittles.
He couldn't do a wrong thing.
I'm just here so I don't get fined. And I
taking the thing at Cal and taking the little injury card and whipping it around.
But as a player, I just love the way he played. I felt like he ran so hard every single play, and I was like, this dude's just trying harder than everyone. So that's
should have gave it to him on the one.
Yeah,
I didn't run the ball.
I think I
love me some Marshawn though. Anyway, David. Sorry, I stole your thunder.
We're eating dubs. Jameis, the GOAT.
Oh, big Jameis guy over here.
Saw him live in college. Crushed Duke. Wasn't exactly impressed, but when a man's eating dubs and running through running back drills like that, how can you not love him?
Did he ever eat those crab legs?
He said they were given to him. I was actually watching something on YouTube that said that some dude basically he's like, dude, I got the hookup. Meet me out back.
So that would basically
they met him out back. He was like, I would give him it.
Then it'd be an NCAA violation. So either way.
When he screamed that vulgar phrase and then got suspended on Florida State and then tried to still dress out like nobody would have noticed. And Jimbo said, go back. You remember that?
Yes. Classic.
All right, boys. Well, David, you mentioned UGA. So UGA and Bama, they just blew two ranked teams out. It's supposed to be a big weekend. Alabama against Ole Miss, Georgia against Arkansas. They both blew them out 37-0. I think with 45-21 Alabama. So basically my question is, it's been a debate that I've seen. It seems that Bama and Georgia are by far the two best teams. But who are you ranking at one right now? Who's been better? Who's the best team in the country right now? Who are you ranking one?
Let me take this one as the host.
Wait, think. All right. You're talking, Walker.
I'm talking. Sorry, guys. I thought you were passing off the whatever, the pop fly to David over here. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. I love my dogs. I think
I'm crying.
I am. I love my dogs, and I think our defense is the best in the country, and our offense looks good. I mean, I hate to make excuses, but we are not even close to healthy either. You know, our best player on offense right now is still recovering from an ACL. Don't know if he'll be ready to I guess, face off against Bama, assuming we make it there. I don't want to knock on wood, actually.
Blaylock's out. Ty Key's out.
Bucks out. Washington's just coming back. I think JT's
Smith, George
still
Pickens.
having some problems. I don't know. And we're still looking good. I think if we can get everything together, there's no reason why it shouldn't be our year.
David?
Well, unfortunately, I'm going to be the pessimistic one here. And I'm going to say a quote from my most dreaded player, Patrick Mahomes. I'll see it when I believe it.
Oh.
Unfortunately, with Georgia, I understand Alabama down year. Right now, clearly better defense, Georgia. Georgia, I'll admit, one of the greatest defenses I've ever seen playing college football. Just top to bottom, where's the weakness? You don't see it. Alabama, they have some weaknesses. Every team they played, I've seen weaknesses, I've seen spots. But right now, what position are they undoubtedly better than us at? The quarterback position. What does every football game most likely come down to in the playoff? Your quarterback. Right now, I trust their quarterback more. I trust their coach more. And if they were to play tomorrow, I'd pick Bama. But Georgia's right there. You get that quarterback situation figured out. You get that offense figured out. I don't think Bama's got an answer on the defensive end for a lot of what we have. And a lot of what we have on the defensive side, they have weaknesses on the offensive side. Their tackles are weaker than normal years. So Georgia, this is the year. But if they were to play tomorrow, unfortunately, I'd have to go Bama.
Yeah, and I'd like to just to add a little something. The question that, if we're even debating, I feel like Georgia and Alabama, I feel like it's still a good thing as a Georgia fan, because I truly feel like with us right now and with the rest of college football, you kind of look at everyone and I see Georgia and Bama in one tier, that top tier, and then, whoever's number 3 is beneath them, in like a whole different category. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's close. I think it's Georgia, Bama, and then everyone else can suck it.
Well, here's the question. If Georgia or Bama were to play any other team other than each other, would any team come within a touchdown underdog of Alabama or Georgia? I don't think there's a single team.
I wouldn't think so.
It'd be close to 7.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something, at least it was last week, that if Georgia played like Oregon, they'd be like up 10 or 11 point favorites. I think Trey said that on the last pod. So stuff like that. No, I don't think any would be. I think they would all be like 2 score, at least 8 or 9. It wouldn't be like 7 or below. But Mr. Curb Herstreet over here basically said everything that I was going to say. So, yes, it's fair to say.
Coming for your job, big boy.
Yeah. What the heck? But anyways, like David saying, what's going to happen with Georgia to win it, they're going to have to play Bama. It might be in the SEC championship, it might be in the national championship, it might be in the playoffs, it might be in the regular season. But if Georgia's going to win a national championship, they got to go through Bama. And like David said, you just got to bank with Nick Saban at this point. He sold his soul to the devil. He can do anything. An assistant hasn't beaten Nick Saban. Lane Kiffin was number 24-0 against former assistants. Kirby's definitely been the closest, but it's just more, if you want to play it safe, pick with Bama. We've seen this before, but they could very well play twice. Hopefully it happens. They're on a collision course. That game, that SEC championship, if they play each other, will be one of the most hyped up football games in like a long time. What?
I said that final score might be 10-7. Maybe not.
It would be so hyped up. But hopefully Georgia can get the receivers back healthy. Arian Smith, Rosemary, Blaylock, even Kieras isn't 100%. Arik, hopefully he can come back, or Eric or whatever. And hopefully George can get back. He's recovering. He's been practicing and everything. But kind of speaking on those next tiers, kind of that playoff kind of team. What about Cincinnati? Anybody listen to my first podcast when I put Cincinnati in the playoffs?
I remember.
They beat Notre Dame. It seems like SMU's the only toughest team they have left. Everybody else is pretty much a cakewalk. Cincinnati go undefeated, they're in. No matter what, if they're undefeated, are they in?
I definitely think so, especially with all the one-loss teams, or even 2. I guess Clemson's completely out of the race, but they're usually up there. But I don't know. Ohio State and Oregon each have a loss. I feel like if they go undefeated, they're in. I think they've had a couple quality wins this year that would get them in maybe over other years. And I think they've proved if we were to even factor in, last year's performance as well, it's kind of like this team has showed continued success. So I definitely think they would make that top 4.
I mean, at this point, I don't think there's much question about it. The Pac-12 isn't getting a team in. ACC probably isn't getting a team in unless my Wake Forest Demon Deacons somehow make a jump in those polls. But the committee has never been kind to my Demon Deacons, but that's a subject for another day. But then you look at the Big Ten, and do you think Iowa running the table? Do you think Penn State's running the table? That would be the only Michigan maybe, but they've got Ohio State. How that goes. So right now, if I had to say, it's Cincinnati and probably Oklahoma, I guess. But personally, another hot take I'm throwing out there. I think Desmond Ridder is the best quarterback to come out of this class next year.
Wow.
He should be the first quarterback taken.
Oh, look at David over here. Let's go.
Yeah.
I like it. I like Ridder. He's pretty good.
He's got the size. He's got the mobility. He's just one of those players where I feel like he'll go like in the later rounds to a better team, and it'll be a great situation. And it'll be like a Dak Prescott where like he kind of is a statue in the pocket, but can extend the play if he has to. He's better than he's better than the Liberty kid. Right now, I've seen more from him than Sam Howell.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's crazy. I think he has the second best odds for the Heisman right now behind Bryce Young. I think I saw that today. So yeah, if he keeps on balling, get that Heisman clout too. But Cincinnati, I feel like, let's just say Oklahoma figures it out and goes undefeated. They got a tough one against Texas this weekend, but we'll talk about that one later. Let's just say they go undefeated and one of the Big Ten teams go undefeated. I don't know if they're going to put them in. Because I feel like, assuming Georgia and Bama both went out too and they have a close game in the SEC championship, imagine if they put Cincinnati over one of the one-loss SEC teams. That ain't happening. If Bama or Georgia, assuming they both get there, that ain't happening. But I would say if it's between an undefeated Cincinnati team and like a one-loss Oklahoma or like a one-loss Big Ten team, I think they should put Cincinnati. Because they proved it. They beat Indiana. They beat Notre Dame. They went after the big boys. They're still in a tough conference, like Group A. It's not like they're in with a bunch of nobodies. Whatever conference, USA or whatever they're in, I don't know.
Yeah.
What are they in?
I think they're in Conference USA.
I thought they were isn't it like the American Conference?
The American, that's what it is. The American. American's not like, it's probably the best. It's the best Group of 5 one. So say over a one-loss team, they should. But kind of with that too, we were talking about playoff teams, and David, you mentioned Pac-12 ain't getting in. Well, it's because the Oregon lost. They lost to Stanford. Stanford had like 2nd and 20 on their own 9. Somehow drives it all the way down the field, scores a touchdown with 0 time remaining, wins in overtime. Oregon goes down. More L's for Pac-12. Pac-12's done. What do we think about that one? Any shot Oregon gets in, or are they done? I think they're done personally. I think Oregon wins out.
I think they're the only way they could get in is, I think, if
it's complete chaos.
I mean, like, they do have the win over Ohio State, which will look good. I think they have to win out, and it'll also depend on, who else is sitting there to get in that last spot for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned your Ohio State win. That's true.
Necessarily all in their hands.
Mm-hmm. David?
Yeah, I mean, you're not putting them in over a one-loss Georgia or Bama that lost to the other one. So that's already not determined. You're probably not putting them in over an undefeated Big Ten team. That's where the debate comes. If you got a one-loss, let's say Michigan loses to Ohio State.
What about a one-loss Ohio State versus a one-loss Oregon then?
You have to take Oregon because they've been in place. But as an advocate of Pac-12 After Dark, Stanford is terrible. I mean, if they get into the playoff, it ain't gonna matter because they lost to Stanford, who is terrible. So the conversation's a little irrelevant, but yeah, I don't think they get him because I've watched Stanford play twice, and both times they might have been the worst team in the Pac-12, and then I watched Oregon State play right after. The Pac-12 is bad. people want to say maybe the Pac-12 said, no, they're terrible. Until USC establishes themselves, until UCLA establishes themselves, Pac-12's bad. Oregon tries, but Oregon's always going to be that team on the fringe.
Yeah, it does seem like Oregon's onto that next. They're like a tier down and all, but they still get like good recruiting class and stuff. Yeah, I'm with you, boys. I don't see it happening. I mean, I guess if they went out and it's between them and Ohio State, they definitely get the advantage. But I say no way in hell they should be over an undefeated Cincinnati. No way they should be over any of the SEC teams. So that's 3 right there. And if it's any other one-loss Big Ten team or Big 12 team other than Ohio State, they shouldn't go in.
Here's a debate. Here's a question. Michigan Ohio State drops another Big Ten game, but beats Michigan. So Michigan's got 1 loss and they win the Big Ten championship. Their only loss is Ohio State, Oregon, or Michigan. Assuming both won.
I'm going with that. Penn State and Iowa and all those guys are still pretty decent, so I'd probably put Michigan. I mean, obviously it depends the Ohio State score and everything too.
And the uproar if Michigan were playing like a playoff team and didn't get in. I mean, Oregon, maybe you get some uproar, but Michigan not getting stubbed from the playoff, they might literally scrap the whole format and fire the entire committee.
That's true. Well, kind of moving on to their old rivals down south. Florida, Emory Jones is bad. Dan Mullen's a clown. They lose to Kentucky. Talk about Kentucky being hyped about a hire. They've only beaten Florida twice, and it's both when like in the past 50 years, and it's both when Dan Mullen was coach. So they're probably happy about that one, but they lose. They go down, probably out of the playoff spot. But Kentucky undefeated now. They're 5-0. That game was crazy. You saw the blocked field goal return for a touchdown. That was lit. But what's the takeaway with Florida or Kentucky if you want to hype them up?
Well, spoiler alert, this will be a part of my guest news segment to the podcast. So I'll hold off on too much except for saying, man, Dan Mullen might be a little overrated. He was getting NFL hype over this offseason, and he's dropped 2 games to Kentucky when they hadn't lost to Kentucky in 27 years or something before that.
I don't know.
I think Mullen's a good coach, but he drops some strange games, I'll say.
He's not a good recruiter either. Like they usually get in the teens or in the high top 10s too. If you're at Florida, you should be getting like top 5 classes.
They get transfers.
Yeah, I guess they get the 5-star transfers. That's true. Well, that hasn't been helping.
The trouble.
I think it definitely confirmed Anthony Richardson starting by us, assuming he's healthy. He's definitely going to start by the Georgia game. Because Emory Jones is not good, and they already lost 2 this season. I mean, they still got everything in front of them. I mean, if they went out and Georgia loses another one, they would have the tiebreaker and get to the SEC championship. But I think David mentioned they just lose some random ones. Like LSU last year, what are you doing? Just big old choke jobs to like teams they have no business to losing. But then
Mullen might be good with the X's and O's, but getting his players to play every Saturday might be a bit of an issue.
Yeah.
Which we're seeing from the former Florida coach that is Walker's background. He's having a similar issue in the NFL.
I am now making noise so that my face will show up and you can see him. Sorry. Continue.
Kind of going with coaches being sus. LSU and Coach O, too. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about before the picks, but LSU and Coach O. I didn't even know this. Auburn beat them in Baton Rouge for the first time since 1998 or something like that. Coach O's looking sus. I don't care about the 2019 team. It was a outlier. Even before Joe Burrow got there, he was a season away from getting fired. So Joe Burrow saved him.
I definitely agree.
And they still get good talent too. It's kind of the opposite of Dan Mullen.
Yeah, he kind of had that miracle season.
I think he's gone.
I mean, I can't. He's got a big buyout though, doesn't he? But I mean, they gave him after he won the Natty, they gave him like a huge deal, didn't they? It was like 10 years, like a $1 billion.
He's gone.
They're gonna have to cash out. I mean, he can eat crawfish forever still on that payload.
People are still gonna love him. He still coached the national championship team, but Yeah.
for
I think-
sure.
thing is,
It makes me wonder how that happened. Was it all luck? You know what I mean? It's like, how did you get
It's
Burrow
the
and
perfect storm.
Justin Jefferson and Thaddeus Moss and Stingley and who else was on that team? Like Devin White on defense. I'm like, how did that even happen?
Belford.
I'm like,
I don't think Devin White was on that team, but
he was.
Eh.
He was on that team.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't,
Nominated us.
but still, they're all there around that time. But still, that's crazy. Like you got a lot of guys. Ooh,
Yeah.
Clyde.
An underrated part of it is when LSU hired Coach O, they knew what he was. They knew he was a motivator and a recruiter. He wasn't an X's and O guy. It's like the opposite of Mullins. So he's got to have those assistants. And who did he lose after 1 year? Joe Brady. And look whose offense is doing pretty good in the NFL. Joe Brady. So that's a lot of it. You knew he had to great assistants. And I'm thinking I don't know who their offensive coordinator is, but he might be sus because that's a lot of it too. They have talent. They've been recruiting well. It's just they're not using that talent to their full advantage. Like John Emery, I thought was going to be one of the best prospects. What is he? I haven't heard that name in a while.
No, he's done absolutely nothing. He got suspended for the year for academics and stuff.
Ooh, well.
No, he's been a big bust so far. Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at John Emery. I was laughing at you drinking that water.
I was chugging. But yeah, I mean, I think Coach O's gone personally. I think get ahead of it. And something I was listening to a podcast, and he was saying that an agent told him that like all the coaches and all the agents, they're kind of waiting for that LSU job because they think that's going to be gone instead of USC. So LSU is kind of a priority over USC, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I was just about to
That's
say
the LA cloud.
LSU's a better job than USC.
Yeah. So that kind of screws USC, but that's pretty interesting with all the like the LA cloud. And
I don't know if anyone in California could understand Coach O. I think he needs to stay in Louisiana.
Coach O was in Cali recruiting for USC though.
Oh, forgot about that.
Yeah. No, not Coach O. Just like coaches out there that could potentially.
But like, I feel like
basically LSU is a better job than USC.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's easier to succeed at USC than LSU, but maybe that's just me.
I feel like there's a lot of pressure.
I guess SEC clout on top of that now.
Yeah, I feel like SEC clout like kind of gets you some recruits. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it definitely does.
That is a huge advantage. Be like, come play for me. We're in the SEC. But also, I don't know. I feel like there's a big fan base and a big push. I feel like for USC to be good. So I feel like he'd get a lot of outside pressure, I guess. But
another thing with LA though is like, if USC sucks, nobody just goes to the game. I mean, they'll complain and everything, but you got to be good or they're not coming.
Oh, this is the biggest hire in USC history, and I don't think there's any doubt about it.
In USC history?
Yes, you do not get this one right, you're probably stuck in being mediocre for the next.
So bigger than
right, you can be a playoff team in 3 or 4 years.
Bigger than Pete Carroll? Huh, okay, what is this? I got to upgrade. This meeting will end in 10 minutes. Upgrade now and remove the 40-minute limit. There's a 40-minute limit?
We need the Zoom sponsorship.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Oh, no. I know what we're going to do. Hey, worst case scenario, we'll start another Zoom meeting right after this.
Yeah. And
we can just cut it. Yeah, like edit or whatever.
I got to make a payment?
Oh, we've been using Zoom too much?
Yeah, you gotta upgrade the video, probably.
Do you got to use it for a certain amount? It says I got to create an account, then payment, then review order. What the hell is this? Well, I guess I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
Podcast investment. All right. Apologies, everyone. The 6-0 podcast was experiencing some technical difficulties, but we are back to continue our conversation. We had just talked about LSU and Coach O and USC.
Yeah.
Are we moving on to picks?
We can move on. To picks.
We probably said what we had to.
Yeah. All right. Picks. So first one, big 12 matchup, the Red River rivalry. Oklahoma, Texas. Who we got?
Walker is the host. You go first on the picks.
First. I like Oklahoma in this one. I don't trust Texas, even though I feel like they might be, I don't know, a little grittier. But I like Oklahoma. I don't
Oklahoma
like
minus 3.5, by the way.
I don't like either of them, by the way, but I will pick Oklahoma. That's better.
Jordan, what's your pick?
Oh, I'll go next. Okay. So I said if you were listening to last pod that I think Oklahoma's going to drop 2. This is one of them. Hook them.
So the horns are up, not down.
They're up. They're up. No penalty over here.
I should have gone first because with my first pick as a guest host,
you took the chance. I'm stealing your job back.
No, I was going to rant a little bit. I think on the 6-0 podcast, you guys don't take enough chances. You go with the popular opinions. You're afraid the fans will get mad at you. So I was going to go hook them as well because I'm the one that takes chances. But now I'm turning them around. Oklahoma. Boomer.
I'm so confused right now. You like double reverse psychology yourself.
I was seriously going into it thinking both of you guys are going to pick Oklahoma, so I got to pick Texas. And then I was going to go on this whole thing about how you guys don't take chances, no hot takes. But now I have to boom, 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 boom.
All right. Well, good thing you picked me first. Next one is the 2 teams that we talked about earlier that took massive L's, Arkansas and Ole Miss. Big game for the SEC West, maybe a potential New Year's Six bowl on the line here. Mississippi State -6. What are you thinking?
David?
What was it? Ole Miss -6, did you say?
Yeah.
Well, after that performance, I can't pick Ole Miss again. They reminded me a lot of last year. Maybe they're getting a lot of hype because that offense looked good, but overall, you play a solid team, you get exposed, and they're playing a solid team. They're going to get exposed.
Really?
Mm.
Then fine. I'll make my first more controversial decision. I feel like I actually like Ole Miss in this game. I think their offense is high powered enough to where I think they can I think they could outlast them.
Not gonna lie, Walker, I was gonna pick Ole Miss too. Yeah, I was gonna go with Ole Miss. That offense is a little too dynamic. Bama's defense is still pretty good, but it was a couple 4th down stops, and I mean Ole Miss seemed like they were moving the ball.
But they were going for 4th down at their own 30.
And yeah, but 4th and 1, and they went for it on the goal line.
So we're praising teams for getting 4th and not getting 4th and 1s against Alabama.
Okay. Are we praising teams that just got shut out? Are we praising teams that just got shut out? Yeah. Sorry, JT. I know David Sims for JT too much, but I'm going hotty toddy. Offense is too strong. Matt Corral going for revenge.
On the spread?
Yeah, I'll go with them on the spread. And outright. -6. But the only thing that does concern me, I mean, he did throw like 6 picks last year against Arkansas, but that was kind of the growing moment for him. I'm going to go with hotty toddy, but I've been wrong before. All right, next. This one is to us right here. Georgia at Auburn. Georgia, it went up 15.5. It was 14.5 Georgia, but now minus 15.5 to Georgia. What we thinking?
I don't even think it's going to be close. We're going to kill them. Go Dogs.
So, to go on a little Georgia rant, I've never felt better about a Georgia team going into weekends in and out. Clemson, I was nervous, but since Clemson, I haven't necessarily been nervous for a game. For some reason, I made myself nervous for UAB. And since that game, I go into everyone thinking, we're going to be fine. I just don't want the game to be stressful. I watched Auburn play against Georgia State. They aren't good, and that was in Jordan-Hare too. Auburn is not a good football team. Bo Nix, not a very good player. Georgia, and give me the points.
Jordan-Hare just susses me out. Like you said, David, we should kill them. Everything on paper says we're going to kill them, but Jordan-Hare just makes me so stressed because that place can get wild, and especially with Stetson Bennett. I still feel confident we'll win. Minus 15.5. I'm not going to lie. I was thinking like 14. Maybe we get a back door, but like I see a lot of people that think that's really confident, but just Jordan Hare always freaks me out. But we have won our fair share of Jordan Hare, but that place is just weird. But if you're making me do it, I'll say Georgia on the spread.
Well, I'll throw a quick fact in there. Georgia State's white running back.
It spooks me out.
Georgia State has a white running back who ran for about 200 yards on Auburn. So what do you think? James Cook, Zeus, Kenny McIntosh, Kendall Milton, what are those boys going to do against that run defense? So if they stop the run, they've got a good chance, but I don't see them stopping.
Well, I'm not worried about the defense because the defense travels. It's just the offense. Stetson Bennett throws a pick. Who knows? Maybe they sell out more for the run and they're like, Stetson, you got to beat us. That place is a suspect to me. We should destroy them on a talent standpoint and everything, but you never know. You never know. That's why you play the game. But next, we brought them up. Michigan going to Nebraska. Michigan only -3.5.
I mean, are we still talking about the same Nebraska that has been playing the first couple games this season? Because I think this is a no-brainer here that Michigan should easily take care of business.
I've got a question for you two, because I'm not as big as college football experts as obviously the host. Is Scott Frost still coaching Nebraska?
Yes.
They will not win the game.
Isn't -3 just so weird though? Like it's too
It is
That's
weird.
what I was thinking. I was like, they're going to beat them by 20.
It seems like a little too good to be true kind of thing.
Yeah, it's weird.
It almost like it's
There's no
so
such thing as
close
easy
that
money
it
on
makes you
with
think
Vegas.
that
I'll
you
stay away from it on a betting end.
Yeah, it's suspect. I'll pick Michigan, but I think this is going to be close just because of the spread. I think it'll be close.
Name one big Nebraska win in the Scott Frost era.
I can't, but that the spread freaks me out.
Name one win in the Scott Frost.
Yeah,
Exactly.
seriously.
Exactly.
Hey, if Nebraska wins this though, talk about your season being turned around. They'll be over 500.
Exactly, and that's a win you're going to remember during the Scott Frost era. When has that happened in the past?
Man, it could turn the season around though. All right, a team that disappointed, or two teams that's kind of been disappointing since from the beginning of the year. Notre Dame traveling to Virginia Tech. Notre Dame only a 1-point favorite. What are we thinking?
Going to Blacksburg?
Yes.
Somebody go first. I need to think about this one. I wasn't ready for this one.
I'm gonna go with Notre Dame. I think they're just a little too talented. Blacksburg, it's gonna be a crazy game, but I'm gonna stick with Notre Dame, but I don't think Notre Dame's that good. So
Yeah, I'd probably say the same. I was about to talk myself out of it because I was like, wow, didn't UNC go into Virginia Tech and lose that opener? And then I really started thinking about it, and I'm like, wait, UNC is terrible. So Notre Dame will win this one.
David.
Oh, dang it, I got an ad. Never mind. I was going to play Enter Sandman, but I got an ad. Yeah, I'm going to go Virginia Tech. You know what? Why not? Blacksburg is crazy. I think this has game of the year potential. You get the crowd, you get a historic team.
Game of the year.
I think it
I
could
think
be an
close.
overtime or two in this one. Notre Dame loves those close games other than last week because they were playing Graham Mertz, but they like some close games. I don't think Jack Cohn's really going to get you a blowout win. I don't even know.
I don't think Jack Cohn's playing.
Yeah,
I think Jack Cohn's
playing. You put this number 10 guy in Blacksburg, or whatever Enter Sandman is. Yeah, Virginia Tech.
All right, next we were talking about Coach O earlier. This could be a big win for him. Going to Kentucky, Wildcats 5-0, going for 6-0. What are we thinking there?
For and when LSU beating Kentucky might be a big win.
Yeah. I
don't see.
5-0.
Maybe I am just being
Kentucky's
safe.
-3.5.
Yeah, LSU doesn't look good, and Kentucky looks solid. I don't want to say they look good, but they just beat Florida, so they haven't lost yet, and I don't think they're going to lose this week either.
David.
I'm afraid of a hangover, but also they announced the Kentucky-Georgia game's 3:30, so I think Kentucky will probably be undefeated going into that game. So I'll say Kentucky, but give me LSU on the points.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I agree with David. I think it's a hangover kind of game, maybe. I mean, Kentucky's all right, but it kind of reminded me of 2018. Maybe they're even a little worse because at least in 2018 they had 2 NFL guys. But I think that last game was more of a Florida lost it kind of game than a Kentucky won it. So I say LSU, and they know it's sus out there. I said they go to Lexington, get the job. I'm feeling a little spicy, and it's not because David was calling me out. It's just a coincidence. Next, we thought this was going to be a potential game of the year, but Alabama and A&M. Night game, CBS. CBS is probably regretting that decision.
For sure. Yeah, I don't trust A&M's offense at all right now.
Bama minus 17.5.
I mean, that's a little tough. I think Bama will probably blow them out, though, just like they do everyone else, especially if A&M can't move the ball right.
Mm-hmm.
Their quarterback's not great, and playing against Alabama, and they're just, I don't know, it's their coaching, their game management. I mean, obviously they're explosive, but I don't see any way that they don't beat them by 30, honestly.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm just to speed it up. I'm with Walker. He said completely right. David, it's your time.
Sorry, my mom doesn't realize I'm doing the podcast. Of course, the 6
Get out of
podcast.
here.
I guess we got a live audience back here. But
Jordan, does your mom know you're doing the podcast?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think he's assuming.
Man, I completely lost my train of thought. Alabama isn't losing, I guess. There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah, Alabama getting the job. All right, and potentially, well, the game of the week, the top 5 matchup: Iowa, Penn State. Iowa minus 1.5. This is huge. Huge Big Ten implications.
I like Iowa in this game. I think they've shown that they can hang with the big boys. I think they're looking pretty good right now. And I don't know. That's all I gotta say.
Jordan, you got first.
I'm gonna go. This is just gonna be your classic like low scoring game. And it's gonna be all about the punter. Honestly, that's what I'm feeling. Whoever has the best punts is gonna win this one.
Jordan's going like 3 years back into recruiting history to find out who was like a
I
3-star
recruited a punter straight out of Nebraska, 4-star, got a cannon of a leg, average net punt, 47.5. Iowa wins.
It's gonna be like something like 7-6, and I'm picking Penn State.
Really?
Yeah, they go on the road, get the dub. I think they just have a little more talent. So I'll just go with them. But it's gonna be a close game. I'm staying away from that one and betting because it's gonna be a low. I'm picking the under, whatever it is. If the under's like 20, I'm picking it.
So time for my actual pick. And I'm gonna channel. We alluded to it earlier when Jordan mentioned Kirk Herbstreit and the fact that we have a guest host today. I'm gonna give it a little college game day feel to my pick.
Okay.
So I wanted to hit my version of a not so fast, my friend, and hit a not too quick pal, but didn't get really a chance within the picks. So Penn State, the whiteout, the tradition, Jerry Sandusky, Joe Paterno, all these legends, Trace McSorley,
legends.
There's so much rich history of Penn State, but now you've got these newcomers, tight end potentially Iowa. They're tough. They're gritty. They eat corn. They like to play football. They like to block. It could go either way. They both have great punters. I lied about the punter thing. They both have great punters. This could be a stunning game. But
he's done his research.
Yeah.
I have done my research, and I've determined Penn State is getting the dub. Go Nittany Lions.
I feel like if we were like really on TV, we'd be playing some like, I don't know.
Fight song is, get it on.
You should have cued me. I could have like queued up the Penn State fight song or something.
Yeah, I wasn't prepared.
I was gonna say it fell a little flat with no music.
It kind of did. If you didn't know, David put on a Joe Paterno helmet or mat or whatever, or head like Lee Corso.
There is.
If you're one of the Spotify listeners,
I should have gotten one. It's near Halloween. I probably could have gotten one.
That was beautiful.
Just
Well,
don't get a Sandusky mask.
all right. So that's it for college football. David, I know you want to stay around. You have no other choice.
Yes, is it time for my guest segment? I've been waiting for years.
NFL. Walker.
Wait. Well, timeout. Do we need to do David's guest segment first?
Yeah.
Does it pertain to NFL or
We
college?
do it at the end. That's the
Does
question.
it pertain to NFL or college? Because we're
It
about to.
has both. It's a mix.
Okay, then. Do you want to wait till the end though? Because what if no one's still here?
Everyone's gonna be here. It's the 6-0 freaking podcast.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, NFL, let's go.
I'll wait until the end. I don't care if this episode is 2 hours long.
We're just having a. We're
We'll
just
hit
having
NFL.
a
Already.
all right.
There's only a couple storylines to NFL this week, so
Already. Well, I picked out the way I normally do it. Okay. Coming on my podcast. I'm just kidding. The way I normally do it is I pick a couple games I want to talk about. I don't talk about all of them, but I kind of like pick the ones I feel like the story is flowing with them. So today I picked 7. I usually do like 5, but there are a lot of ones I want to talk about. First off, also pertaining to the background, we're going to talk about the Thursday night game between the Jags and Bengals that I guess it's almost a week ago. Today's Wednesday. So, yeah, I guess just that this is just like a whatever you call it, underhand. Just hit the Urban Meyer home run.
It's a classic. That was a classic Thursday night game. Just two terrible teams that nobody cares about.
And everyone got injured.
Tomorrow's a good one. Seahawks Rams. But just talking about the Urban Meyer thing, it's a whole disaster. Look, David, you say your thing. I want to find this tweet.
The one of like everything that he's done.
Yeah, the one of just like everything that's gone down since.
As you're pulling up that tweet, I'll just talk a little bit about that Thursday night game.
Yes, please.
That is the first time in probably 3 years I haven't watched at least 3/4 of an NFL game, because I'll usually watch Red Zone. I'll usually have all the games up. That game was like watching that game felt like getting your ass grabbed in a bar by a 50-year-old man. I'll just be honest.
How do you know what that's? How do you know what that feels like? It happened. It happens sooner or later.
Yeah.
We're all gonna be there.
So bad, right?
Yes.
I don't know.
All right, here's my tweet.
Discriminate here at the 6.
Yeah, not that there's anything
like
wrong
that.
with liking it.
All right. Here's the thing. So he hired that Iowa strength coach who ended up being a racist, and then he wouldn't fire him, and then he ended up resigning. So that was terrible.
Storyline like 10 of his.
He drafted a running back in the first round despite having James Robinson. Walker and I were talking about that off pod. Undrafted rookie who rushed for over 1,000 yards. Why would you do that? That's stupid.
Well, just a little bit adding to that, I feel like it wasn't that bad of a pick. It was more of like where the pick was, and he had so many other team needs that it seemed like a very big reach, especially when, I don't know, they need D-line, they need secondary, they need everything. So.
I heard he didn't expect the Giants to take Kadarius Toney. He was
there you go. He said openly admitted
why he had ETN playing like slot all preseason. He thought he just wanted to turn him into Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, he openly admitted that he was hoping to draft Toney instead of ETN. So nice. Told reporters that he cut players due to their vaccine status. The NFLPA did an investigation. Had an open competition between Trevor Lawrence and Gardner Minshew. And then Gardner Minshew was traded a few weeks later, and that took away reps from Lawrence. Traded away last year's number 9 overall pick. Team starts 0-4. Didn't travel with the team after their loss to Cincinnati. Viral videos and photos emerged of him with a woman other than his wife. Now, with this comment, she's hot. Owner, she is.
Justify it. I like the
I mean, is it better than doing it with? Never mind. So owner releases. Owner releases. If you're gonna do it, owner releases statement.
Urban Meyer's wife, come on the podcast.
Yeah, Urban Meyer's wife, expose them, or the girl.
Ooh,
yeah.
What's her at?
You're out there.
Anyways, owner released a statement that Meyer must regain our trust and respect. And probably the worst of them all, signing Tebow as a tight end.
Oh,
What are you doing?
Hey, I never thought Tebow really had a shot. Like, he was never going to play. I think just defending this one just a little bit, he was never going to play. I think he was
But the
more
whole
there to
thing
be-
of it was just
he was there to be a locker room guy. That was it. He was there to bring like whatever his
white
Tebow
privilege.
fight on support. That was literally it. He was there to be a fourth, fifth string tight end, and he was going to be that guy. But
Imagine Tebow were here during all this. We're still on the team.
Tim Tebow, come on the podcast.
Lordy. No, usually I'm not a person that says fire a coach after 1 year. They're taking over bad teams, so like it's kind of hard for him to be like that much better.
He's made him worse though.
But he's made him worse, and then this whole stuff, he's gone.
I'd be worried about Lawrence. I'd be worried about
Trevor. No way anybody hires him after this crap. Or at least you would think. I don't know. He's done. Yeah,
I don't think his health will deteriorate before it's a long NFL.
I always love the memes of just him just bent over and everyone's like, oh no.
His heart or whatever isn't gonna make it.
He sucks. And it's kind of nice seeing him getting like exposed for being a terrible person because he's not a good person.
Anyway.
Okay, that's probably enough about Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
That's probably enough about the Jags and Bengals matchup.
Yeah.
So we'll move on. I wanted to talk about another little bit of a stinker, but had a couple points I wanted to bring up. The Jets getting their first win of the season over the Titans. My main point I wanted to talk about in this one is, Zach Wilson has undoubtedly kind of looked just terrible. I've been told that he is Mormon Johnny Manziel. And from what I've seen,
you don't even get the good parts of Johnny Manziel.
Well, yeah. Anyway. But he showed some flashes, I think. He had that one play where he rolled out to the right and chucked it downfield. And I was like, that's kind of like what I saw in his pro day video that made him the second overall pick when he chucked that off-platform throw like 80 yards downfield, it seemed like. So stuff like that kind of gives me hope. But also, I don't know, the Jets I don't know what's up with them.
Nobody can be good in that system.
Also, what's up with the Titans? I don't really want to get into the Titans. They're just weird. I think
they are weird, but Julio and AJ Brown were out.
That is true. But also, I was gonna say, but they went and beat the Seahawks, and then they lose.
The NFL, the NFL, anything can happen.
That defense is terrible.
Defense is bad.
It's terrible because Vrabel is a defensive guy. But since he's gotten there, their offense has been what's kind of kept them afloat and made them a good team. And then now you lose Arthur Smith. Is that going to hurt the offense? And now Vrabel's is there for the defense, and they literally have the worst defense in the league right now, which is saying a lot because Seattle's defense is pretty dang bad too.
Yeah, I don't think I could name someone on Seattle's defense. Well, I guess besides Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams. Who are the other 9?
I can't tell you. Nah, embarrassing loss if you're the Titans. You never want to lose to the Jets. Jets still stink. I still don't see it with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank God Sammy D got out of there. Thank God he got out of there.
That might be the only one they win, though, if I'm being honest.
It might be.
To touch on Zach Wilson for a second, though, I will say he took a stride. Because if you're a rookie quarterback, Peyton Manning has the most picks of a rookie of all time. You kind of want him to go out there and see, hey, what works and what doesn't. It's not like the Jets were making the playoffs this year anyways. So, some of those performances were bad, but one of them was against Bill Belichick. Herbert played terrible in his first game against Bill Belichick. So, I watched Mark Sanchez talk about just how Zach Wilson's probably feeling right now. He's probably relieved that they're just not going to go 0-17 this year. After that one win, and you build a little bit of confidence, you're like, at least we're not going to go winless. Because if you go winless, then there's people talking, is he a bust? But if you rack off one win, then hey, who knows? Maybe you get another one against, I don't know if they play someone like the Texans or someone, but it's just all about building the confidence, especially when you're the Jets quarterback. If you can rack up a few wins, he looked really good in that game. That Titans defense, terrible, but he looked really good. So.
Yeah, and speaking of a team he's playing like the Texans, he's got my Atlanta Falcons next week, which
he might rattle
in London. I think that's a very winnable game for them, even as a
Falcons. Yeah, definitely. Falcons are awful.
Yeah, but I just wanted to bring that up. Falcons defense just got done getting carved up by Tyler Heineke, or what's his name? Heineke?
Heineke.
Put some
Taylor?
respect on Heineke's name.
I knew his last name. And I
Respect
know
the football team.
He went
Yeah.
to Collins Hill High School.
Yeah, well, we made
Sponsor the
him
podcast.
we made him look like a league MVP the other night, and I don't even know what to think. I feel like Falcons season's just in the gutter.
At
I
least
can save a rant for another time. I know we're gonna go a little over, but I do have a Falcons ready
are
for you.
awful, and so is the Washington football team's defense. Their defense isn't good either.
I don't even know what
I don't
happened.
know either.
They were so good last year, and they didn't really replace anyone as far as
I have no idea. They're awful. But
They were
so are
good.
the Falcons. The Falcons are Kyle Pitts is looking a little. I'm not saying he's going to be a bust or anything, but like I expected him to be a little better so far. At this point,
Yeah,
I haven't scored a touchdown yet.
Think,
Alvin Ridley hasn't been
go.
that good. I feel like I don't know. Matt Ryan's just going to die. He's dying at some point. That's it for me.
Or he'll end up like Big Ben and play like 3 years too late. So.
Yeah.
Well, at least you have
Anyway.
Cordell Patterson.
Cordell Patterson.
Yeah, I mean, he's a journeyman, but dude's just a ball player, you know? He's a kick returner. He's a wide receiver. He's a running back. We don't really know what he is, but I like that he's the only one with heart right now.
It's kind of crazy. This is the place he finally found like his role.
I know.
After so many people have tried to use him like that. Even I think the Patriots tried to use him like that at one point.
Yeah, I agree. I guess moving on again. I kind of want to talk about Cowboys and Panthers. Not a ton of storyline going on here, but I thought this was a cool game. Both teams afterwards, I mean, the Cowboys defeated the Panthers, but they're both 3-1. And I kind of wanted to say, like, are either of them for real? Because Panthers just picked up, as of today, breaking news on the 6-0 podcast. Not really, but Panthers just picked up Stephon Gilmore. And speaking of another acquisition, which we were just talking about, the Jags trading away their former 9th overall pick and CJ Henderson. They also have JC Horn in that secondary. You got Jeremy Chin.
But
I know, but I'm just saying in general. I'm like, nice. In general, I mean, this Panthers team looks solid. And I don't know. I'm starting to wonder. It's kind of like they're in that division with the Saints and the Bucks, and one more team that I'm forgetting the name of because they're just terrible. But yeah, I don't know. And then the Cowboys, on the other hand, are kind of like, I don't know what to think of them. I feel like they score some points, and you got to score points to win games. But
I think they're both definitely playoff contenders. Like I think they're both favorites to get into the playoffs, even with the Panthers. Like Sammy D's balling out, and they got a lot of talent. It's good to see Sammy D ball out. We were right about that one. But DJ Moore's balling. It seems like the Panthers are a pretty good team. Like they're definitely like a wild card team. And then Cowboys, I mean, they're in a crappy division, so they can get in. They're both teams that are capable of winning a playoff game.
For sure.
I'd say so. So they're both good. Two good teams. Sammy D leading the league in rushing. Let's go. David.
Touchdowns.
The Cowboys are a solid team. I mean, the Cowboys, they're going to make the playoffs because they're going to win their division. So at this point, it's just a question of, are the Cowboys Super Bowl contenders? I think personally in the NFC, there's a chance. I mean, are they better than the Bucks and Rams? Probably not. Are they better than the Packers? No, but I think they've got a solid shot with Dak has been really good this year. So they've got a solid shot of winning one playoff game. The Panthers, on the other end, they're not winning their division, but with the extra wild card spot, I guess you've got a chance. But I don't see the Panthers necessarily winning a playoff game. But honestly, if you make it to the playoffs this year, as a Panthers fan, you're happy. You say the Sammy D experiment's working. Matt Rule looks like a good coach. The offense looks good. I mean, the defense got exposed by the Cowboys, and JC Horn being hurt doesn't help. So bringing in Gilmore is huge. I mean, but that defense is really young. So when it gets later in the season, you're playing better offenses. They're going to struggle a little bit. But I think they've got a good spot at the wild card because other than the top of the NFC, I feel like in those wild card spots, it's up for grabs.
Yeah, and if we remember starting last year, we added in another spot too for the playoffs. So
exactly.
it's seven on each side now.
Yep.
So I mean, it's getting easier, I guess, to get that spot. Yeah, I agree with you, David, about Dak plays well. The team is typically going to do well. But what I wanted to talk about a little bit more was like, I feel like Zeke's been kind of absent almost all last year and a little bit at the start this year. I thought he looked pretty good yesterday. I think I looked at the stat line. He had 120 yards or something and a touchdown. I feel like the Cowboys are at their best when Zeke plays well. So
Tony Pollard.
I like Pollard too.
Tony Pollard.
Well, it's funny because earlier in Dak's career, it was Dak needed Zeke to play well in order for him to play well. But now it's Zeke needs Dak to play well in order for Zeke.
Right. And then I just feel like there are too many of those games where Zeke rushes for 60 yards and Dak throws for 400, kind of bailing him out. And then they still lose in a shootout. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn's got that defense playing on a different level, too.
And they released Jalen Smith.
They don't need him. They've got Keanu Neal, surprisingly.
Yeah, Micah Parsons.
Yeah, who should be playing DN, but whatever.
Anyway, I think that's about it for that one. I got 3 more I want to talk about. The next one was, I don't want to say it's surprising, but the Cardinals taking it to the Rams and putting 37 up.
Yeah, Cardinals are the last undefeated team now.
And I mean, I feel like we talk about I feel like there's always the but with the Cardinals, because it's always like, hey, this team's really good, but they play in this tough division. And then I'm like, they just took it to one of their division opponents and who everyone thought going into this week was the best team in the NFL. I mean, could the Cardinals be in the conversation for the best team in the NFL? Because I feel like no one had really thought about that until this week, because it's always been like, they're the 3rd best team in that division because they're behind at least, I don't know. I don't know how good that division is, honestly. I'd put them at the 3rd best team probably.
Yeah. I mean, I still think the Rams are still the best team in the NFL. Honestly, right now, I think that's fair to say, or at least top 2 or top 3 with the Bucs and Chiefs or whoever. But I'd say they could definitely be the 2nd best team. I don't think it's crazy to say they're better than Seattle.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree.
I think they are. I mean, but how good is Kyler? Kyler's a beast. Kyler's a monster.
That offense is just clicking, man. Like they're just putting close to 40.
Yeah,
like every game, they popped over 30, and I don't know.
I definitely say they make the playoffs.
I mean, they have DeAndre Hopkins and AJ Green. Whether or not he's washed up is debatable. But AJ Green, they got Rondell Moore, Christian Kirk, got James Conner and Chase Edmonds running the ball. And their defense, like they got J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones and what's his name? Simmons, Budda Baker, what's his name? Byron Murphy. I'm kind of like, dang.
No.
Like, when did this happen almost?
They surprisingly might have had the best free agency of any team. And nobody really talked about it, but they needed veteran leadership. That was the thing.
They brought in older guys.
Wherever JJ Watt goes, you bring it just like no drama. Ever you play well, like at least like the team tries. Not maybe at the end of those Texans years, but like you get a team that goes out there and plays every Sunday, and then you got Kyler. As long as Kyler's just got to basically stay healthy, and I think it's the Rams and them, and I don't think Seattle wins the game against Arizona. I'm going to be honest. Their defense, I can't see them chasing Kyler around for that long. And then the 49ers, it's going to end up being the Trey Lance development year. I think they'll probably go like 8-9, 7-10. Unfortunately, Jimmy G keeps getting hurt. And if you saw his press conference today, it was really depressing because he was just basically like, looks like it's going to be a few weeks. It just sucks that this keeps happening. And he's like, I don't want to be injury prone. It's just stuff happens and he can't play.
Oh, poor Jimmy G.
Yeah, that's tough for him. But, I mean, I don't know. I feel like the 49ers are kind of in that position where I don't want to say they're a quarterback away, but I've honestly kind of felt like the rest of the team's kind of stacked. I mean, that offense is just loaded with weapons. Like they got
the leads league in receiving yards.
Yeah, and they have they got 3-4 good receivers. They got Kittle. They have a whole platoon of running backs for whatever reason. And
Trent Williams.
Whoever gets the ball in that scheme, whether it even be Devontae Freeman on the Falcons, but
Coleman.
Yeah,
They
just
got Trent Williams on the line too.
Trent Williams.
yeah, like who even is Elijah Mitchell? Like, why did he get like 120 yards and a touchdown in like the one game he started? I'm just saying. I'm like, yeah. I don't know.
But just kind of bringing this back to the Cardinals, I was telling you, I don't know if I said this on the podcast or I've told you this, but it's a big year for Cliff Kingsbury. Like if they don't make the playoffs, could he be fired? Maybe. I mean, it seems like the past few years with the Ball or Kyler, they've always been like good enough, but haven't got there. This is a big year for him to make the playoffs, so he's got to make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, I guess I don't want to say good enough because you never want to be just good enough, but I don't know. I look at that Cardinals team, and even last year I was like, wow, this team is like very talented, but it was always the but. It was always the but they play in the toughest division in football. So that's the reason why. So I don't know if they can rattle off some of these wins. They seem to take care of it anytime they play somewhere else. So I mean, if they didn't have, 6 other games against the top teams in the NFL, honestly, I think I don't know. I don't think his job would be on the line though, unless they, lose every game after this. I feel like he's shown enough and showed enough progress over each season that I feel like he'd be fine.
All right, we want to move on to the next one.
Yeah, we got 2 more. The most hyped up game that everyone talked about forever.
Chargers, Raiders.
Well, one more before. I'm going in order of when they happened.
Oh, I know.
But we're going to talk about the Tom Brady's return to Foxborough. I'll say I thought it was a pretty good game. I liked that it was.
I fell asleep.
It was a little more of a defensive battle than I was thinking. I think Mac Jones actually played really well for the Patriots, especially. No one was talking about that, I feel like, all week. They were all talking about, hey, Tom Brady's returning, the pressure on him. And I was like, the pressure on him? Imagine Mac Jones being a rookie quarterback, manning a team that's significantly less talented.
And going up against Tom Brady, you're
going against
former team.
Exactly. I'm kind of like, and he played almost lights out. I feel like he was very solid. He did what he needed to do. And I kind of feel bad. It felt like, I don't know. I felt like it was in the making for the passing of the torch almost, at least from the Patriots legacy perspective. And then there was a missed field goal in the end that kind of ended that one. So
yeah, I mentioned that on the last pod that this game was going to be more about storyline. So I'm talking about the story. I'm going to talk about storylines here.
Okay.
First of all, Patriots barely acknowledging Tom Brady getting the little effort or little record thing.
Yeah.
BS.
To be fair, he barely
What?
Threw the ball to the sideline.
I think it was.
No, but you got to give him a round of applause and be like, thank you.
I don't know. I feel like, they did. When Drew Brees broke, he was at home though, wasn't he? So they like.
Yeah, but still, that's basically Tom Brady's home.
They took like a 5-minute break from the game to like put a crown on his head.
But that was basically Tom Brady's home.
In the middle
of a break. The man has your respect.
Are you gonna do it? Are you gonna stop and give him a laminated piece of paper and all this in the middle?
No, but you can get everyone can give a round of applause.
The president comes out on the field to shake his hand.
Not that crazy, but like a little round of applause. You wave to the crowd and everything. You put the ball up. You're like, thank you. Everyone gives you.
Put it on the jumbotron real quick.
Yeah, no, just a little pause in action, like a minute. That's all I'm asking. Disrespectful. Patriots fans booing Tom Brady. Disrespectful.
I heard they cheered when he ran through the tunnel and then booed him during his first drive.
That's what they did.
Bullshit. Terrible.
I think it was on purpose. I don't think they're that salty. There's no way you could be that salty. Come on, guys.
Did you guys see the fan quote on Sunday Night Football before the game from Schwartzy?
No.
What?
So basically, Sunday Night Football, I guess, asked a bunch of Patriots fans like what they thought of Tom Brady returning, and the quote sounded so fake, and they weren't like, they can't be real people. But one was like Schwartzy. It was this Patriots fan Schwartzy, and the quote was like, when Tom Brady originally comes out there, I'll cheer. But on that first drive, I'm going to be yelling like there's no tomorrow. I want to see his ass in the ground. I want to make it hell for him and all this. And that's what all the Patriots fans did. They cheered for him on the first drive. So Schwartzy is the leader of the Patriots fan base. Schwartzy might be Belichick personally. All right, that's what I mean.
I'm just imagining Bill Belichick showing zero emotion, like looking behind his back, shutting the door, and then just like the light. This is the only thing lighting up his face in the darkness of his phone. The phone's just lighting up his face.
And that's
angrily tweeting
with the hood on.
At Tom Brady.
But speaking of Belichick and Tom Brady with a quick little, good game, bye.
That was
that was a little
talked after the game apparently.
What?
They talked for 20 minutes after the game apparently.
I hope so. But
I thought the same though.
I thought that was weird, but especially with all the stuff that was coming out before this week about like how Belichick wanted to kick him to the curb and all that kind of stuff and everything. I thought that was a little odd.
I feel like it should have been just a little bit, like when they like grab each other's heads, and they like wrap up just a little bit, whisper in each other's ears,
like man.
Well, my thing is, like, at that point, the game's over. So, like, there is no point of, we're just playing another quarterback. At that point, you might never play Tom Brady again. So you might.
Well, yeah, and I think that's what I was telling Jordan last time is kind of like the way they rotate these games, especially between AFC and NFC. It's kind of like I don't know how the formula goes now with the extra 17th game, but what it used to be was you'd play another like whole division or whatever, you'd play like everyone from whatever, the AFC North or something if you're in the NFC, and then you'd switch it next year. But anyway, if it's still in that formula, then they play each other for 4 more years.
They add another random out-of-conference game, because I know the Chargers got added like the Vikings. So I guess there's a chance. Knowing the NFL, they'll probably want to do it again. So,
either way, that was sus. And then Tom Brady after in the press conference said all that stuff wasn't true, but I don't know. I don't know. It was a little suspect. So that's what I'm taking away from the storylines.
Well, let's wrap this up. I know David is probably foaming at the mouth to talk about his Chargers. So lead us off. Chargers defeating the Raiders. I do have something to say as well.
Okay, I guess I'm leading it off. Well,
yeah.
Bolt the hell up. My God, we have had a really good season. As a Chargers fan, you still get the tough, stressful moments, but what I'm noticing this year, we end up winning in the tough, stressful moments. The least probably stressful game was that Cowboys game. Go ahead.
I'm raising my hand for anyone that can't see. Sorry, this is just perfectly lining up for actually what I was going to say. So, during the game on Monday night, I specifically remember, sorry, Jordan, if I'm calling you out a little bit, but I just wanted to make a point. Jordan texted me, and I think he said something like classic Chargers. Like, the Raiders looked like they might have been starting to come back. And I definitely texted him. We got the receipts in here. And I was like, it's different now because of Herbert. That's what I said. I said, I don't want to say the curse has ended, but I was like, no, you don't understand. This guy's for real. And I think it's different now. That's all I'm gonna say. Hyping you up a little bit.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen at some point. That's all I'm gonna say. But it's also classic Chargers making it more stressful than it needs to be. You're up 21-0. David said, quote, Raiders are frauds. And I said, have you ever watched the Chargers? The game is not over. And then the Raiders scored 14 straight, but then Herbert was clutch and scored a touchdown. And a very clutch drive. I'll give him that put the game out of reach. Derwin James is a beast. Chargers have talent and everything, but I feel like I've seen this before during the Phillip Rivers, LT, Vincent Jackson days. They'll find a way to mess it up sooner or later.
You get the difference I'm seeing is before we wouldn't respond. We just drive after drive when the other team would grab momentum, drive after drive after drive, and we couldn't stop the momentum. What I'm seeing in the football team game, week 1, not in the Cowboys game because too many mistakes, but that was a bit of an anomaly. Both teams weren't really playing well. But then you take the Chiefs game, and you take this game. It's the NFL. Teams are going to go on runs. Unless you're the Bills playing the Texans, you're not going to blow out anyone. So there are runs. It's how you respond to those runs. And Brandon Staley, he knows this. He says it all the time. We have ghosts in our locker room that we have to get rid of. Why do you think he's going for it on 4th and 2 from our own 40? Why do you think he's going for 2? Why do you think he's throwing touchdowns? Because he wants to say there are no ghosts. It's how we play. And if you can withstand the run, the big thing was that sack on Derek Carr was 21-14, 3rd down. The Raiders were driving again. Brandon Staley dials up a perfect blitz, get a sack. They miss the field goal. Game's basically over from there because then Herbert takes us down the field. Great drive, wins it. Against Kansas City, they got within 7 again. They tied the game. We just kept chugging along, kept playing. We didn't get nervous. We used to play tight. Brandon Staley knows the thing, knows what he's doing there. And especially the aggressive calls, it's nerve-wracking, but also what fan isn't on 4th and 2, especially when you have a quarterback like Justin Herbert, like just throw a quick pass to the tight end. And we do it every single time. And like Walker said, Justin Herbert's different. He makes up for so many mistakes.
Bill.
It doesn't matter. He'll no separation for the receiver. There was this one comeback route that Mike Williams ran. And I was like, what are you doing throwing it? Put it right on his number. Mike Williams had nothing to do but catch it. Justin Herbert is different. I'm honestly saying, bias clearly, it's Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, and Justin Herbert.
Oh, wow.
Justin Herbert from day one is just different. I think he's almost having a better start than Patrick Mahomes because he doesn't have the mistakes. He doesn't play with the mistakes. And then that last 2-minute drill at the end of half against the Raiders, the man was making checks all over the place. Blue 42. Oh, check the mic. And I was like, Justin Herbert, oh my God. Went down, scored a touchdown. So I don't want to, like Jordan said, you can get the classic Chargers. We might fade down the stretch. But right now we played the 3rd hardest schedule in the NFL, and we're 3-1, and we look fantastic. So I posted this in our football group message, the Michael Scott meme. I'm ready to be hurt again. This team is good. And the Raiders suck. But that's for my guest segment.
I mean, they're
That's
just.
all I had to talk about.
They'll screw it up. Super Bowl? Are you thinking Super Bowl, David?
I'm thinking we're a contender.
Ah, boy, why do you do this to yourself?
I think we make the playoffs. I think the Chargers can beat any team in the league. Whether they do it, I don't know. They can beat any team in the league. Justin Herbert in his 3rd start went toe-to-toe with Tom Brady last year.
Yeah, I mean, Justin Herbert's really good, but like I said, the Chargers brand will screw it up. By the way, their stadium's stupid. How do you have a lightning delay in a dome?
It's a canopy.
It's a roof.
Canopy. It's LA, of course it's a canopy. So the side is open. It is the first weather delay in history where they told the fans, stay exactly where you are. Because it's literally a canopy and then the sides are just wide open. For $5 billion, you'd probably think that you'd have one architect that goes, maybe this is a bad idea. But it's LA, so whatever.
Yeah, they're betting on the weather being nice, which honestly isn't a bad bet. So
I felt good about the game because I was in the car coming back from somewhere and the game was starting. I was like, oh, I'm gonna miss it. Right when I turn it on my phone, lightning delay. I'm like, bless up, bolt up, lightning storm. They know what they're doing. They knew their number one fan was on the way, and we got the dub.
You're Bolt Man?
Yes, I am Bolt Man. By the way, the return of Bolt Man is game changing too. Don't underestimate the return of Bolt Man.
All right.
Some say he wasn't going to go to the game because the LA traffic, but when the lightning storm started, he was the lightning bolt.
Oh, he
put him
just
right on the stage.
on the
Yeah,
field.
just lightning in the grind.
Yeah, it's like a superhero, like a lightning strike, and then he just appeared.
Nice. But I guess with that, that's all I had to talk about, I guess, with our NFL. So that's all we have on the agenda today. So
Wait, David, don't you have your rant?
No, I know. I'm just saying. That's all I had.
Give me an intro. Thank you.
What?
Jordan was trying to interrupt your great intro into my guest segment.
David, go.
Oh, what an intro.
I can barely hear that.
This is You Are Ass. This is a guest segment by David Stein where I will be going through who is ass of the week. First, You guys hinted on it last week. Clemson. They are not good. Man, they're terrible. Dabo loves to go take the underdog. Well, you're an underdog, man, because you guys are ass. Next, Dan Mullen. We touched on it earlier. How can you drop 2 to Kentucky after you haven't lost to Kentucky in 27 years? Mark Stoops is literally the Walmart Bob Stoops. Like, he's not a very good coach, and you keep finding a way to lose to him. Dan Mullen, you are ass.
This is gold. By the way, this was not like cleared by us. So we're seeing this for the first time and I love it.
Next, Lane Kiffin. You're going to go the entire week talking so cocky, so cocky. I was actually starting to like Lane Kiffin. I had an Ole Miss fan say this in a group message I'm in. I forgot why people hated Lane Kiffin. You're going to go against the greatest coach, greatest dynasty in college football history and go, get your popcorn ready. Well, get your popcorn ready because you're ass. Like, oh no, ad. You can send farts on this app. It's pretty nice. And then next, this might be a hot take, but Oklahoma, you're ass too. You keep every game close. This isn't going to work. You're playing the Big 12. Yes, it's going to work until then. You're going to play in the playoffs again. You're going to get blown out by 40, and the Twitter streets are not going to be happy. You know what they're going to be saying? They're going to be saying, your ass. Next, we've got Wisconsin/Graham Poops, a.k.a. Graham
Wisconsin.
He sucks too. Man, 5 touchdowns. You have one of the greatest performances of all time in your first game. Have you thrown a touchdown since then? My God, your ass. Then I'm going to skip Urban Meyer because we already know he loves some ass. So, of course, he's ass. Next, I'm going to expose someone on this podcast.
Oh, shit.
Jordan Stein.
Ooh, what?
You are ass.
What did I do?
First of all, are we just going to fail to mention that you're wearing a Falcons shirt right now?
I just found it in my closet. I just put it on.
For those on the spot, those like me that are Spotify listeners, Jordan's wearing a Rise Up Falcons shirt. This man claims no NFL affiliation and then decides to possibly wear the shirt of the worst team in the NFL. Jordan Stein, you are ass. No, I need a premium farts. No more farts for me. And then lastly, we just touched on it, the Raiders. I've been saying it for weeks. You are frauds. The Raiders are not good. Derek Carr does this every year. Are we not pretending like every single year we say Derek Carr's different, John Gruden's so great, Mike Mayock, genius. They have a great start, end up going 7-9 every single year. So you see that start for the Raiders? Every single start of the game was like that, and then they claw back in. They finally play a good team, can't claw back in. The Ravens aren't going to make a comeback against you. They're not good enough. They're not good enough passing the ball. They have to run the ball. They weren't going to make that comeback. And they still almost came back. So the Raiders, you are ass. My farts aren't working.
You could have just farted for real. I was going to say, though, 7-10 because we got an extra game now.
I know. That's why I thought about that. But still ass.
Well,
what a segment.
Wow, that was my favorite thing we have ever done. To conclude, I'm going to say it, my favorite episode we've ever had, guys.
This was a great episode. Good job, David.
Closing remarks before we kill this one. It'll also probably be our longest episode ever, I assume.
Oh, yeah. I hope you guys made it till the end. It was brilliant pod. Comment muscle milk if you made it till the end. Comment muscle milk. Yeah, great pod. Thank you to all the sponsors.
Comment what your
David, you had your chance to be in the podcast permanently when we started this, but you declined like a little baby. So
I like to make guest appearances because you can't find ass like that every week. You're
Urban Meyer.
Yeah, unless you're Urban Meyer and you don't travel home. But my closing comment.
My closing remark wasn't even done.
Yeah, but I'm gonna say finish.
I was gonna say
my closing.
Shout out Outer Banks. Outer Banks is hype. Just gonna put that out there.
Netflix sponsor us.
Yes. David, you're cute.
Netflix, put us on Netflix. We'll be the first podcast on Netflix.
I'm a P for L, Pogue for life.
If you don't subscribe to the 60 podcast, you are a kook.
Yes.
Oh, you changed it up. That could be our next segment.
You're kook. Pogue or kook.
Comment Trey is ass if I was a better guest than Trey.
Yes, comment that too. We might run a Twitter poll.
I might send you a fart.
Twitter poll.
Yeah, we might have to run a Twitter poll. Who's the better guest star, David or Trey?
If you comment, I might send you a fart.
It's gonna have like one vote, and it's gonna be
It's gonna be David.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys understand. You have 22 viewers.
All right, David.
22 views.
Views, yeah. David, what's your closing remark?
Those are me.
My closing remark is thank you guys for allowing me to hop on this podcast. It was crazy. We had a bunch of different storylines, but whoever this Trey Farrow guy last week, he is bad. That is my closing remark.
Oh. All right. Well, that's going to end the pod this time. Can't wait for another great week of college football and NFL football. Bet the storylines are going to be crazy. Shout out David for getting on the pod. Shout out Walker. Shout out me, of course.
Shout out Justin Herbert.
See you next week.
Enter to follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Spotify. Links will be below. Or just look up 60 podcast. Yeah, have a chance to enter to be the next guest star. On Instagram.
There's not a lot of
you got a good shot.
Competition there.
Yeah, you got a good shot. So we're out of here. Peace.